The 2018 British Truck Racing Association Championship with Truck and Driver. Hello and welcome along to the penultimate event of the 2018 British Truck Racing Association Championship with Truck and Driver. Pembrey the venue, but the weather has been absolutely horrendous so far and it's going to make life very, very tricky indeed for all the drivers. Wonderful to see you, and first of all, congratulations on the birth of your daughter.
Yes, thank you very much. It's you know, everybody says it's the most exciting thing that'll ever happen to you in your life, and it seems to be so far. Yeah, that's for sure.
I still carry with me a passenger ride that you took me round on here years ago, and I can still see the grin on your face when you did that. You enjoy this circuit?
Yeah, no, Pembrey's a great place, and if I'm correct, it's 25 years this weekend since the first ever truck racing came here in 1993, and it was certainly 25 years since I first came here truck racing, and it's definitely 20 years this weekend since I started my truck racing career in 1998 here at Pembrey.
David Jenkins qualifying second in Division 1. Championship leader though Ryan Smith on pole, Simon Reed in third and Richard Collett in fourth place. Division 2 headed by the visitors, Mika Mäkinen, the reigning champion, returning to the championship. Eric Forstrom second and Luke Garrett in third. First race of the weekend was for Division 1 and a very, very quick start by Mika Mäkinen, but Luke Garrett showing the class that he's displayed all season coming through, and it was to be between Garrett and John Bowler to the checkered flag. Garrett taking another win, Bowler in second in Division 1. A very quick start, as you'd expect, by the championship leader Ryan Smith. David Jenkins in second from Simon Reed in third. The conditions still tricky as anything. These boys, as ever, put on a super show. Ryan Smith coming through for his 19th win of the season. Ryan, you got some big news for us this weekend.
Yeah, Mark Taylor, my main sponsor's son, has decided to give it a go, so they've been out and they've bought an impressive outfit, and this is Mark's first race weekend. He went and done his odds, and after the first race he's only 7 seconds off me, so fantastic start, and obviously Mark's got an eye for it.
Mark, welcome to the championship. It's great to see you here, and you've really been chucked in the deep end, fella, haven't you?
Yeah, I have, and it's been a good weekend with weather as well, so it hasn't all been with it, has it, this weekend?
What are your thoughts coming in from really tricky conditions in your first race? How did you deal with that?
It was good. Before you come up to Apim, there are a lot of water, so that were a bit tricky because you're like aquaplaning over the top on it. So, yeah.
Jamie, sorry to see you retire yesterday. What was the problem?
We had an air dryer fault, so we just drained the air going around. And let's be honest, there's nothing we could have done or checked there. It just means that we're on the back foot now today, you know, running from the back of the grid. But hey, that's where we like to come from, and let's see what moves we can do on the first few corners. So Jamie off the back. Don't forget Ryan Smith comes off the back too, having won race 1. Martin Gibson and John Newell on the front row from Stuart Oliver and Richard Collett. Mark Taylor electing to start off the back. The newcomer we heard from, a warm welcome to the championship to him. Brave lad coming out for the first time in these conditions. But the boys so far have been equal to anything that the weather's thrown at them, and here they come down the straight, ready for the start of the second race of the weekend for Division 1. David Jenkins on board footage down the outside line, and look at that from Jenkins, challenging for second place on the outside line of Martin Gibson. The men in black side by side going into the hairpin. Richard Collett following Stuart Oliver in the 7 up the inside line, and it's John Newell who leads them. John Newell's best result so far, 7th place, joined the championship late on this year at Donington Park. You probably remember at the convoy in the park. Richard Collett has a moment on the grass, loses momentum. Jenkins busy chasing Newell here. There's half a gap. Jenkins is through on the inside line. Superb move by Jenkins in the Digraph 69. Got the lead. John Newell into second place. Great start then from David Jenkins. It's going to be difficult
for the drivers to come through the pack in these conditions. You can see Jamie Anderson has made up some places already, as has Ryan Smith in the number 1, so it is a long enough race for the boys to be able to, the faster guys, come through from the back of the field. Stuart Oliver there up ahead of Jamie Anderson with the white, blue and red guest truck of Simon Reed next up. But look at Dave Jenkins, he is checked out, he's down the road. Look at the sideways motion on the trucks as they come through Honda corner. Last corner on the lap. Martin Gibson having a look, a driver who has just gained so much in confidence over the course of the season. Hard on the brakes they go. Challenge on from Jamie Anderson on the inside line of Stuart Oliver in the bonneted Volvo. Oliver, he's not having any of that. Anderson loses a wee bit of ground and now has got the attentions of the double champion right behind him, Ryan Smith, extending his championship lead now. 390 points for Ryan Smith after race 1. Jenkins still second in the championship on 339. And there is the new boy, Mark Taylor. Superb. Well, it really shows terrific courage coming out and racing in these very, very tricky conditions. Storm Callum having hit South Wales very hard indeed. The racing was delayed for half a day, believe it or not. And the officials have done a super job to get any racing on at all this weekend. And the conditions now are much, much better than they were for the first race, which you saw in the highlights. Ryan Smith past Jamie Anderson, goes a little bit wide, and through on the inside line goes Simon Reed as well. Richard Collett closing up in the 95, but here comes David Jenkins still out front. Fastest lap as well for Jenkins at the moment. This is auguring very, very well for him. And David in the 69 truck looking for a 5th win of the season. Stuart Oliver clouts his teammate going into the hairpin. Martin Gibson facing the wrong way. That could cause more problems than perhaps it did. Ryan Smith very sideways indeed. He's hard on the gas, but superb truck control through it. Learned through his drifting exploits, I think, there. Really controlled that well. Massive power slide coming off the grass for Ryan Smith. And it's left Martin Gibson stranded with a damaged truck. And his teammate inadvertent, you know, in the wet you're going to get little bits of contact. Well, there's no such thing as a little bit of contact with these massive trucks. The momentum that they execute when they're going around the track, and particularly if there's a touch, it's going to make a lot of problems. Stuart Oliver, though, does continue, and Martin Gibson is continuing as well. So incredibly, no retirees at the moment. John Newell is still running strongly. This is looking like John Newell's potential best race result here, and he's up ahead of Stuart Oliver. But there's the race leader, David Jenkins, who's just controlling this one at the front in fine style. Jenkins, nobody in sight behind him. That's the lead that he's got. So Jenkins out front, John Newell still there. Stuart Oliver is second, Jamie Anderson in third, and Oliver, you can see, using the brake slightly better there. Newell's passed, two guys passed in there. Anderson is the second one through on the inside line. I have to say that on his charge from the back, Ryan Smith was a little bit of a victim of the shenanigans with Stuart Oliver and Martin Gibson. Jamie Anderson now busy chasing Oliver for second place. But it's 3 black trucks, isn't it? First, second and third. Here comes Jenkins onto the last lap. Trucks using the national circuit with the big sweep as opposed to the new Clubman's track, which is used as well. We come into the hairpin. Short straight down before the right-hander, and Jenkins well in control of this one. It's a massive lead that Jenkins has. This is going to put him onto a 5th win of the year, second most successful driver in terms of wins in the championship. Remember, Ryan Smith has 19 wins in the championship so far. Here's the battle for second. Jamie Anderson working hard. There might be a bit of a judicial over Stuart's move on his teammate. Wasn't intentional, but the stewards will still perhaps dish out a penalties. But it's Oliver at the moment in second position on track. Jamie Anderson challenging him. John Newell is in behind, but here's the man who is going to win race number 2 of the weekend here at Pembrey. the man who's second in the championship behind Ryan Smith, David Jenkins. Jamie Anderson splashes through a massive amount of standing water there. Here's the checker though. David Jenkins takes the checkered flag, and a big gap back. We go back. It is Stuart Oliver in second position on the road. Hold on to that thought, because it's Jamie Anderson in third, then John Newell is going to record his best finish. Here they come up across. Ryan Smith is there, Mark Taylor there as well in shot. Smith and Taylor get finishes. So Jenkins the winner. It was Jamie Anderson awarded second from John Newell, Simon Reed, then Richard Collett. Stuart Oliver demoted with a 10-second penalty to 6 from Martin Gibson, Ryan Smith and Mark Taylor.
Superb drive, David. Congratulations, well done. Talk us through that opening lap.
Yeah, just got a great start. Just managed to spot a gap. Had a cheeky run down the outside. The other guys were kind to me and made it stick round the outside, and then just got through John Newell and checked out. It was great, really.
Jamie and John second and third. John, I'm going to come to you first. I think first podium on your return to truck racing, so great to see.
Yeah, good, exciting race. Led it at the beginning, but missed the gear on to hairpin at bottom, and then let Stuart and Jamie through. Big mistake. We're getting quicker. We've a long way to go yet. It was just reverse grid this time, so it helped us. So we'll see how we go on. Just keep progressing.
And talking of reverse grids, Jamie, we spoke to you before the start of the race. You had an awful lot of work to do, but to come through for a podium and P2 right from the back, that's great.
Yeah, definitely. You know, he's getting stronger and stronger from what we're doing. And we just have to make the moves. We've got the strongest points. We really struggled in that race for traction at the back, and it was just lucky enough that there was some accidents and some open areas, should we say, to get through.
Martin, what happened to you?
Well, it's going well, but I couldn't get past John, so everybody was bunching up, and then unfortunately there's a bit of contact to the hairpin, which spun me around. But I expected it sooner than that, so when it came I was like, there it is. But no, it's brilliant. Truck was going well, so looking forward to the next one.
You two, after the contact, obviously still speaking.
Oh yeah. It's, that's the beauty of our, the truck racing and the team. You know, what goes on the track goes on the track. What comes off the track, you then back to how we are. But no. I'm sure we'll get his own back.
Yesterday I gave him a good shunt, so yeah, that's even there.
Third race of the weekend for Division 2 about to get underway. Trevor Martin on pole position with Adam Bint, and then row 2, Eric Forstrom and John Bowler. Cracking start, a minty from Binty as they go down into the hairpin for the first time. John Bowler on the outside of Trevor Martin, Forstrom side by side with Steve Powell. Then it's Craig Reed, but it's Binty who comes out in front at the moment. Keep your eyes on the bright yellow truck of Steve Powell, who's come up into 4th place. His brother John, who won race 2 from Brad Smith, second in the championship. Steve Powell was third, so Powell starting off the back here has made a lot of progress. Brad Smith side by side there with Eric Forstrom. We lost Mika Mäkinen incidentally after race 2, so a short-lived return to the championship for Mika. Forstrom's very rapid Sisu, one of the older trucks actually in the championship, but very well maintained over the years, and good to see Eric racing here again. Craig Reed chasing hard at the moment. Steve Powell in 4th. Craig Reed is in 5th place, and the back end of Powell's truck getting a little bit wild, and Craig Reed looks up the inside line. Binton Bowler still up front. Trevor Martin in 3rd. Reed now ahead of Steve Powell. Powell is 4th in the championship, chasing his brother John for 3rd. As the race leaders tick off another lap, and a big sideways moment there from Craig Reed. Is he going to wind up in the barrier on the inside? He gets the anchors on, little nudge of the back end on the barrier there for him. Here's the view of the recovery from Craig Reed. That's a lot of places lost, a lot of points potentially lost for Craig Reed as well. Craig is 6th in the championship. He's 70 odd points behind John Bowler, who's having an absolute stonker of a race here, so he's not going to close in on John. The man behind him in the championship is Simon Cole, and Simon not racing, the beast not behaving itself at the moment, but he'll hopefully be back at Brands Hatch for the last event. But what a battle we got on for the lead. Adam Bint out front, then it's the 14 of John Bowler, the 16 of Brad Smith. Second in the championship is Brad Smith, and we need to watch out for Luke Garrett because he didn't start race 2, Luke Garrett, and this is going to be a dent in his championship points. Garrett on 390, Brad Smith on 356, 15 points for a win, 14 for second, and so on and so forth down the places. Adam Bint here though, is it too early to start to talk about his first win perhaps this year? He's under a lot of pressure, and John Bowler is looking for a maiden win as well. Brad Smith, of course, has had 2 race wins, so he's used to doing it. Steve Powell's had plenty of career wins as well, and he's coming under pressure from Eric Forstrom. It's a 5-way battle for the lead with Binty up front. Forstrom goes wide into the hairpin. Sideways moment for Brad Smith, and Luke Garrett passes in there in the 42. Brad Smith, that is significant championship points-wise, and Garrett is right up in the mix of some serious points now. So Brad will be kicking himself metaphorically about that. Here's the battle for the lead. Eric Forstrom trying to sail around the outside line. Whereas Forstrom comes on, he's a rapid truck and very well driven. Well, some people say there's only one line. That's not a racing line, that's the grass for Eric. It was a game effort to get into the lead. Binty was racing him fairly, but having none of it. On board with Craig Reed, trying to recover from his moment. He's on the grass, trying so hard. That's the runoff at the end of the main straight. Is he going to park up the guest vehicle? Back to the race leaders, on to the last lap. Steve Powell challenging hard for second place. John Bowler defending rightly on the inside line. This is brave stuff again from Powell. Will he go for the cutback here? I didn't think he was far enough over to do that, but he is now. He's looking for the cutback. Binty's still there. Powell all over the back of Bowler at the moment for second, and Adam Bint is going to be wondering whether he's going to get his first win of the 2018 campaign here. The former champion out front. There is Trevor Martin. Damage on the back end of his machine. He's still running though. Only one retiree after all that, which is Craig Reed, believe it or not. Now here they come. The trio for the lead, headed by Binty, and Powell's got the inside line, spots a gap, and just goes through. Very well read indeed there by Steve Powell. So down into third place goes John Bowler, and Powell wants the win. It's Adam Bint. You can virtually see him looking in his rearview mirror to see the yellow truck chasing him down. They're coming down towards Honda, the last corner on the lap, and Powell's going wide here to maybe have a chip up the inside line. He's having a look, and he's going to try and draw level with him. Binty's got his body in front at the moment, runs to the flag. Contact between the two. Powell's coming through. Binty as well. It's a photo finish, and it's Adam Bint who just gets it from Steve Powell, but that was so close. Adam's first win of the season, Steve Powell second, John Bowler in third ahead of Eric Forstrom, Luke Garrett fifth, and Brad Smith completing the top 6.
A long overdue win, but more importantly a second podium of the weekend.
Yeah, it was a very hard race. We managed to get the first position from the start and then just hold on, and we had to be very defensive because there's some fast drivers out there trying to come through, but we managed to position the truck right where we needed to put it to stop them from coming through, and managed to come home with a win.
A second podium of the weekend for you, and you know, some hard work.
Yeah, last race was good. We were pushing right through from the very first lap to the second to last, and we just got passed on one of the bottom corners by Steve Powell. Nice creep pass, but good race.
Division 1 trucks, unusually for a reverse grid race headed by Ryan Smith. He usually has tons of work to do from the back, but he's got David Jenkins alongside him, so it won't be easy. Simon Reed and Richard Collett, row 2. John Newell and Jamie Anderson completing the third row. As you can see, we've actually got a little bit of a hint of blue sky here today. The sun trying its best to break through the clouds here on what's been a difficult weekend. So Ryan Smith is out the front, and away we go. Ryan Smith, championship leader. Second position is Martin Gibson. Third place and challenging around the outside is Richard Collett. This is always a worrying moment when they go into the hairpin. Look how physical it gets. On board with Jenkins, who didn't take that front start. Jenkins is off the back, and contact on Richard Collett there. Jenkins trying to muscle his way through. Contact on the back of Jamie Anderson. Martin Gibson's in the wars again in the GT11 truck, but still go. It's amazing how much contact is inflicted on these machines, but they carry on. They are real workhorses and so well engineered. That's the key point. Ryan Smith the leader though, Stuart Oliver second, Simon Reed is third, Jamie Anderson in fourth place, Richard Collett coming under pressure here from David Jenkins. So winner piece so far for this man David Jenkins, and Ryan Smith. Ryan, of course, qualifying on pole position at the outset of the meeting. It doesn't matter whether it's wet or dry. Ryan Smith has been key getting pole positions this year. Opening race of the weekend, of course, always the fastest off the front. From there on in, the race results are reversed, and we have reverse grids, which adds to the entertainment for the fans that flock to the racing. I'm impressed with just how many fans we have. This part of the circuit you're looking at is not a spectator area, incidentally. The main straight, unusually, not a spectator area, but the banks around the rest of the tracks are, and we've got a really big crowd, considering that we've been hit by Storm Callum. If you look in the background, you'll see motorhomes, cars parked up on the banks, loads of people on the infield as well enjoying the racing here at Pembrey. And the BARC, the organising club, have put on a superb weekend's programme and done very well indeed, as I said earlier in the show, to get all the races run. Ryan Smith very happy with things at the moment. Stuart Oliver in second there, the former multiple champion, chasing the double reigning champion, Ryan Smith, out front. Smith now on 398 points. He's going to break the 400 barrier here. David Jenkins second in the standings on 354. Jamie Anderson third on 324. And then it's very tight battle between Stuart Oliver and Simon Reed. Those two have been swapping places in fourth place in the points for the last 3 or 4 rounds, and it's been so close between the two of them. And at the moment, Stuart Oliver has the upper hand by 4 points Simon Reed has the upper hand by 4 points over Stuart Oliver. And it looks like Oliver running in second place here. There is Simon Reed, fourth in the championship. There's Stuart Oliver, currently in fifth. So those two close together here, and the fact that they're within 1 place of each other means that with a 4-point gap, that position won't change. Here's our new boy, the 81 truck of Mark Taylor, dicing with John Newell. John, a former class champion years ago, and had a very good run in that first race, his first podium of the season, first race that we saw in full on the programme, second race of the weekend. And Richard Collett going through as well. Newell and Taylor dicing for 8th and 9th place. Richard Collett is in 6th at the moment, having a lonely time of it, with Martin Gibson in 7th immediately behind him. But there is David Jenkins, and here is the race leader, the PT Hire Taylor's backed truck of Ryan Smith. And this has been absolutely inch perfect. He hasn't had to execute as many overtakes as he normally does in these reverse grid races, because he had was involved in the aftermath of that incident between Stuart Oliver and Martin Gibson, but gets a decent run of the green here. So away and down the road at the moment in lead position. Meanwhile, David Jenkins is busy trying to close in on the boys in front, and it's Jamie Anderson immediately in front of him, and then currently holding 3rd place, Simon Reed in the 89. So Reed has dropped away from Stuart Oliver. Oliver at the moment clawing back a solitary point potentially on Reed in the battle for 4th position in the standings. Here is Oliver. Ryan Smith just going out of shot. Side by side though for 3rd place, and Jamie Anderson muscling his way through. Reed has to collect it all back, loses a little bit of speed. David Jenkins is going to come through on the inside line, and all of a sudden Simon Reed loses 2 places, 2 championship points potentially as well. On board with Jenkins now, chasing Jamie Anderson. This, the battle for 3rd place off of Speedway Straight. Here's the leader at the other end of the straight, already negotiated hatchets into Spitfires. He goes now, and it's 3 wide again, because Reed is trying to go up the inside line of Jenkins here. Jenkins has got the faster sweep, and that's to attack Jamie Anderson as they go down into the hairpin side by side. Wide line there from Jenkins, and nipping up the inside line, claiming the place back is Simon Reed. Read that well. Jenkins, though, not ceding the place. That was all about Dave Jenkins attacking the truck immediately in front. Jamie Anderson, he had a good go, but Anderson holding on now. And tell you what, Simon Reed has got some speed here and may well be able to claim that position back, that 3rd place. Smith, Oliver, Anderson, Reed and Jenkins, the top 5 at the moment here on the 3rd race of the weekend for the Division 1 trucks. Onto the last lap goes Ryan Smith. Stuart Oliver trying to hunt him down. Ryan's got the fastest lap of the race as well again, a 1:10.916, averaging 73.91 miles per hour around the Pembrey circuit. Ryan Smith, this is going to be his 20th win of the season. Stuart Oliver is in second, and Oliver looking quite sharp in the Kelso truck. The Anderson machine is third. There's a challenge on here for fourth place. Jenks has a look up the inside line of Simon Reed as they go into the hairpin. He can't quite do it. Reed had a better entrance there. So it's Anderson still in third place. This has been a fine battle for the last podium slot here at Pembrey in race number 3 for Division 1. There is Stuart Oliver in second. That is pretty much settled. Ryan Smith is still out front. There is Ryan in the distance. Oliver second. What about this battle for third? Look at the gap between first and second, and then significantly between second Stuart Oliver and third place Jamie Anderson. They've held each other up really by scrapping so hard in this race, but it looks like Anderson, there he is at the front of this trio, got the job done. Jenkins still looking for fourth place, but it's a win, buzzing the pit wall for Ryan Smith. Stuart Oliver is going to do the same. He goes past in second position. Third place goes to Jamie Anderson at the head of this group. Watch for them to go through Honda corner. Anderson going through that now. He'll watch for the checkered flag for third. Jamie Jenkins still challenging for fourth. They go across the line. Smith, Oliver, Anderson, Reed, Jenkins in fifth. Richard Collett in yellow is going to complete the top 6. Then Martin Gibson in the 11th. But it was an impressive win once again for Ryan Smith. Smith by 3.5 seconds from Oliver, Anderson, Reed and Jenkins, then Richard Collett, fastest lap 2 to the winner, Ryan Smith.
Congratulations, mate. Front row, that's what the plan was.
Yeah, a little bit frustrated after race 2, but you know what, we can't have it all his own way, and you know, this championship says that, and you know, anyone can win races in this format, and it just shows the calibre of drivers we've got. Massive congratulations to Mark Taylor, my teammate. Did a 1 minute 14, 3 and a bit seconds slower than me, which I think is a fantastic achievement. So, big thank you to Taylor's Transport and Alan Taylor personally for making us both be here, and thanks to you guys also for a cracking weekend.
Jamie, another cracking podium. You're certainly banging in some good results this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we had a DNF yesterday, and today we've got to keep hard. You know, I've got Simon chasing me for the tail for the 3rd position in the championship, and it was important for me to get past him. A bit of wrong setup on the truck, a lead that was a bit too soft, and we struggled in the longer, faster corners and had a lot of shove on, but we just had to manage it and do what we needed to do. There's nothing we could change.
Final race of the weekend for Division 2 with Trevor Martin and truck number 6 John Powell on the outside of the front row. Brad Smith and Luke Garrett row 2 from Eric Forstrom and John Bowler. Steve Powell and Adam Bint on row 4, then Craig Reed and Mika Mackinnon. We are short of Mika Mackinnon, sadly, as the trucks buzz the pit wall on their way down into Hatchett's hairpin for the first time. Trevor Martin leads in front of John Powell. Luke Garrett's going for a Luke lunge round the outside line. Is he going to be able to grab the lead? He's certainly got his nose in second place. Runs wide. Neat and tidy from John Powell on the inside. Powell is in third. Luke Garrett second. Trevor Martin is the race leader. What a superb start. Binty from the back. Steve Powell in yellow chasing him. Then John Bowler. Craig Reed in the mix as well. Reed on the outside line here. Hanging on. Gets a wheel on the grass. He'll lose a bit of speed. It's so boggy out there. Trevor Martin, the leader. I expected Luke Garrett to be through in second place by now, but the other boys not making life easy for him. Still got the championship momentum. The first driver in Division 2 to break 400 points this year. Eric Forstrom there in 5th place in the 50 machine, and Garrett gets it all sideways. Garrett loses out, he's on the grass, the back end wants to come around, and Luke Garrett rejoins but has got some serious recovery to do now. It's going to be damage limitation for him in this race as Steve Powell chases Adam Bint down into Honda corner. Binty looking a bit defensive. Powell going for the full wide racing line as we ride on board with Brad Smith momentarily. Eric Forstrom looking to make a move up the inside line, and he does. Forstrom through into second place. John Powell relegated to third, but John holding on. He's going to keep the momentum through on the outside line. Tags the front end of Forstrom going through the hairpin. Eric will try and recover from that. It's amazing that when you look at it, race cars clatter through the Hatchett's hairpin. There's barely room for trucks, but they work so hard on their driving as they go down there to give each other room. And Eric just a little bit of a casualty there, but it's John Powell in second, Eric Forstrom in the yellow bonneted Sisu trying to close in on him. Next up is Brad Smith, second in the championship. Brad 366 points to Luke Garrett's 401, so on paper he's going to claw a few points further back in this one. And remember, only 4 races to go after this weekend as we head to Brands Hatch. It's been a tough weekend for all of these boys. So Powell and Forstrom second and third, and Trevor Martin doing well here to hold on to. Trev's got the truck running well at the moment and leads another lap. Is he going to be able to hold on from the other boys in front? Martin had a superb start when you think that John Powell was with him. Forstrom looking to come through as well. Eric looks on the outside line. Finnish veteran driver takes a wide line into Hatchett's, still followed by Brad Smith in the 16. Then Steve Powell is starting to come through as well. Steve Powell in the previous race taking a second position, so he's making the most progress of the boys from the back here in Division 2. And off onto the grass goes Eric Forstrom. You can see how wet it is from Eric bouncing around there, and that really takes the pressure off John Powell now in second place. So Powell is closing in on Trevor Martin. Martin the leader, Powell in second place, and this is starting to get closer. Forstrom into retirement, sadly, on board with Craig Reed. You can see visibility still an issue with spray. He tries to go on the outside line here of John Bowler. Adam Bint immediately in ahead. Superb race here from Craig Reed. Craig, of course, missed the first meeting of the season, made his debut in the first Pembrey outing earlier on in the year. He's 6th in the championship, just behind John Bowler. He's got a fair bit of work to do to close down on John in terms of the championship positions, but he may well be able to do that. And now it's a 4-way battle for the Division 2 lead. Steve Powell on the inside line at the back in yellow, but it's John Powell, his brother, that's putting the pressure on. Brad Smith still there in 4th place, on board with Brad Smith in the 16 truck, the man from Leicestershire. Trevor Martin still holds on to lead position, but having to get defensive now is Trevor, Westbury-based driver, 4 Division 2 trucks for the lead. Every bit as entertaining as the Division 1 machines, and that's why the race fans are glued to their seats here watching the racing. Martin still there. Powell putting him under Powell J putting him under pressure from Powell S, and Steve Powell putting his brother under some pressure. He looks to the inside line of Steve Powell. John Powell moves across lightly, and Steve Powell here has got second place. Steve Powell through on the inside line, but they tag, and Brad Smith's got more speed and comes through. Brad Smith challenging for second place now. Smith's going to try and do it. The two brothers were fighting, and Brad Smith goes through. The fraternal fight causes them problems, and Steve Powell's got to bounce back from that, and so too has John Powell, and Trevor Martin gets a little bit of breathing space as a result. Look at the damage on the back end of Steve Powell's machine. He's still gunning for second place. He's got his nose in front going into the hairpin, but the back end comes around big style. He gathers it all up in fine fettle as his brother looks to go on the inside line. Steve outside, John on the inside. John through back into 3rd place. Wonderful truck racing. Place swapping aplenty here. Who says the overtaking's gone out of motor racing, and they can do it in these huge beasts as Trevor Martin continues to lead this one. Are we going to get a Trevor Martin victory here? Luke Garrett there, the championship leader, trying to recover from that moment earlier on. They've caught Martin again, but they're still squabbling over second place. And it's John Powell now on the inside line of Brad Smith, who goes through Trevor Martin, goes wide now. Was that under pressure? I don't know, but it's John Powell now leading from Brad Smith. Martin was, I think, under pressure. He was across the track. He's lost a shed load of places. He's off the podium, is Trevor Martin, but a great drive up to that point. What about the fighting spirit of John and Steve Powell? Brad Smith in 3rd. What a race we've had here for Division 2. Smith in 3rd position. It's still John Powell out front. Steve Powell dives out of the slipstream, goes to the outside line, nose in front, but the inside line down into the hairpin is with his brother John, who slams on the brakes, goes down there, he grabs the outside line on the exit. Now we've got Brad Smith on the inside line of Steve Powell challenging for second place. He's going to have a look down the inside here. Steve Powell sees him, gives him the room, gets back on the gas on the exit of the corner. That is superb truck racing. That is superb motor racing from those guys. Adam Bint next up, then Trevor Martin, followed by Craig Reed. Binty's had a decent weekend, the former champion, really getting his machine, the Volvo White Aerodyne, running well. He was actually at the Trucks Factor truck demonstrations at the Rockingham circuit a few weeks ago and found a few bugs there. So that might have been a very useful testing exercise for Binty, and it was a fine event organised by the BTRA chairman Steve Horn and his team. Trevor Martin now being hunted down by Luke Garrett, but onto the last lap. John Powell is settled in the lead. Steve Powell is in second. It was so physical mid-stages of the race between the, well, you have to say the top four. There's the last lap board going out here in the sunshine, the belated sunshine at Pembrey. Steve Powell in second. His brother John got the fastest lap back on lap 9, a 1:15.264, averaging a shade under 70 miles an hour around the twists and turns of this circuit. That's amazing. And remember, these trucks are limited to 100 mph. Craig Reed trying to challenge Adam Bint. This is for fourth place, into the left-hander. Let's see what Craig Reed can do. Newcomer to truck racing this year, dicing with the former champion, but it's John Powell, third in the championship, leads the race. Superb stuff here with Trevor Martin and Luke Garrett, but contact between the two of them, and Martin gets the gyration as the checkered flag falls on John Powell. Second win of the weekend at Pembrey. His brother Steve is second. Third place goes to Brad Smith, who retains second place in the championship. Craig Reed fourth ahead of Adam Bint and John Bowler. Trevor Martin seventh, and Luke Garrett in eighth. Fastest lap, John Powell.
John, what a superb weekend. Congratulations on your second win.
Thank you very much. It's a really good race. We broke the rear springs prior to that race, right, and actually it wasn't going to go out. And 10 minutes before we went, we decided to cut them off and just see if it went sort of steady. Yeah. And I just got involved, so felt all right. So I just carried on.
So having made those changes to the truck before you went out, is that something you can leave, or do you have to put it back right?
I think it's our new setting. So it's the axle's moving a little bit, so we might have to do something with it. But yeah, you know, we've learnt something just by that. So.
Steve, nice to see you on the podium again. So 2 good podiums for you this weekend.
Yeah, no, I've done all right. Yeah, should have. I was hoping for the win in that race. To be fair, we caught John up, but I lost it in the hairpin a couple of times and lost all the boots. So, but no, very happy with another podium, and it's good. Clawed a couple of points back on John in the earlier race today. So I think it's probably about 4 points between us for third for going into brand. So no, yeah, very happy. Like no damage. So yeah.
Final race of the weekend. And it's the Division 1 boys headed by John Newell and Martin Gibson. Richard Collett on row 2 with David Jenkins. Mark Taylor, who's had a very impressive weekend so far, has bagged 3 good finishes. And he has 22 points to his name in his first meeting so far. As the boys go down into the hairpin for the first time, John Newell is the leader in 18. Outside line, Martin Gibson. Inside line for Richard Collett. It's a brave move down the inside line for Collett. And he breaks. Is he going to be able to harness all that momentum? It's Richard Collett that leads on board with David Jenkins. You can see how busy it is at turn 1 on the start of these races. Stuart Oliver has got ahead of Newell, but it's Richard Collett leading this one. Second position is Simon Reed. Reed scoring consistently so far this weekend. It's going to be a little bit hard to work out who's going to be the top point scorer over the 4 races. We'll let this one settle down before we look at that, because that will have a bearing on the championship. Probably won't as far as Ryan Smith's concerned, because he's got a pretty good healthy lead in the championship and has scored consistently. Nobody was disappointed with a race earlier on. Jenkins runs a little bit wide, but carries on, and it's Richard Collett still out front. Simon Reed second, Jamie Anderson third, ahead of Stuart Oliver. Let's see what Stuart can do, having a little look down the inside line. Anderson comes across, partly in defence, partly I think having a look at Reed in front of him. Bit of opposite lock there from Richard Collett in his home-built truck. There's a motif on the back, built not bought, because they're very proud of the fact that they've put the truck together themselves, engineered it at their base, and showing good pace here at Pembrey, Richard Collett. So Simon Reed down behind him, Anderson and multi-champion Stuart Oliver in the mix as well. Oliver still trying to nab a few points here, and Anderson, remember, his first year of truck racing for Jamie Anderson. And David Jenkins is off the circuit. Is that a retirement? It looks like he's coming back on and doing a good job. He's not flooring it, he's just taking his time to get back on track. He knows that the race is long enough to maybe catch a few machines and maybe get some points as Rick Collett continues to lead here. Simon Reed, though, is having none of that, and Reed goes on the grass. You can see the back end just starts to chop out when he got the gas down on the number 89 truck challenging for the lead. But Richard Collett keeping it nice and steady in lead position at the moment. Collett, Reed, Anderson third, Stuart Oliver fourth. John Newell again strong in fifth place, having notched up his best result so far this season in race number 2. Across the line they go again. Richard Collett, well due a win. Had a best this year of 6th place. Can't believe that. Richard Collett, capable of so much better, just not had the rub of the green this season. But things looking much, much better for him in this one, with Reed in second. Behind John Newell, you can see coming through is Ryan Smith, making progress again. The championship leader, Ryan on 413 points, I mentioned. Oh, sideways moment for Collett. Sideways isn't forwards. He gets the back wheels on the grass and around he goes. Collett loses the lead. Tried to keep it all together, but it's Simon Reed who inherits the lead from Richard Collett, who is spun away towards the back of the field. So it's Reed from Anderson now. Ryan Smith suddenly now is looking up towards getting a podium. Collett rejoining behind David Jenkins. Jenks racing into the sun, and Collett, I think, furious with himself, has got more momentum than David Jenkins at the moment. So Collett rejoins. So it's Reed in front, Anderson and Oliver, second and third coming down into the hairpin. Look for Ryan Smith, so he's up battling for a podium now. The complexion of the race changing completely here as Anderson gets the on his rear end, has got Stuart Oliver looking up the inside line. Oliver backs out of it. There is Reed still out front. This is bringing Ryan Smith into the mix. Ryan's bringing himself into the mix here, having picked his way through from the back into 4th place and all over the back of Stuart Oliver now. What a race we've got between these boys. Anderson still in second. I reckon Anderson, no, I was about to say that Jamie Anderson could be the top point scorer on the weekend if it stays like this, but he had that DNF, the first DNF of the year for him in race number 1. Oliver under big pressure from Ryan Smith. How many championships, titles tied up between those two? Anderson, for my money, a potential future champion without a doubt. He's been a very impressive addition to truck racing in Division 1, but it's Simon Reed who's out front at the moment. Now, if Reed stays out front, he'll be the top point scorer on the weekend. He's starting to just move away a little bit at the moment. Ryan Smith's just bagged the fastest lap. There's John Newell, who's dropped away from the lead group. Martin Gibson is in behind him. Gibson's still looking for his maiden podium, but had a 4th position earlier on in the year. And as we said, he's a newcomer to the championship. He's competed on or in other forms of motorsport. Truck racing is a completely different discipline, of course. These boys battling hard at the moment, so it is Newell still there at the moment from Martin Gibson. Gibson comes from Warwickshire, John Newell from Rotherham, and a fine battle going on between these two. They've got a little bit further behind the race leaders, but as you can see, the marshals keeping a keen interest there on the circuit. And if you've ever wondered why the marshals tend to be a little bit more visible on truck racing, for safety's sake, they have to go actually further back, so it means they tend to stand in a more prominent visible area for safety's sake, in case one of these trucks goes off. And that applies to some of the spectator areas at these truck meetings are moved back as well, and some of the areas for our cameras get moved back as well, all for safety's sake, so that we can watch these wonderful machines and drivers go through their paces. David Jenkins closing in now on the 11 machine of Martin Gibson, so Jenkins staging a good recovery here. He's cleared Richard Collett, and John Newell glances the tyres there, and he's off the track, so Newell loses a position. Ryan Smith still there at the moment in 4th. The boys in black up ahead of him, having their own quarrel still. Jamie Anderson P2, Stuart Oliver in third place, and Ryan Smith's got to try and nail them back down. Oliver in the Volvo, Simon Reed in the Iveco Stralis. So we've got Iveco, MAN, Volvo, MAN with Ryan Smith in fourth place. As Simon Reed goes on to the last lap, he is, by my reckoning, going to be top scorer on the weekend. But very little to choose between Simon Reed, Ryan Smith, who's still challenging for third place, and David Jenkins, who I think, had he not had that moment, would have been top point scorer on the weekend. There's no trophies for being the weekend's top point scorer. The trophies, of course, are on the individual races, but we like to keep an eye on the stats. As Simon Reed goes through, clearing the lead. Remember, the fastest man on track is the championship leader running in fourth place. Watch for the white and light blue there, the Taylor's back machine of Ryan Smith, the championship leader. But this battle for second is very keen indeed. Jamie Anderson there at the moment, holds on to it. Jamie with 2 wins so far this season. Ryan Smith here is probably doing the sums. He knows he's got a very healthy lead in the championship, which he'll take very nearly 50 points. Championship lead that he'll take to Brands Hatch. Reed looking very smooth out front and giving us a demonstration of what to do on a clear track here is Simon Reed. Anderson and Oliver have been at it right the way since the start of the race as the checkered flag is readied, and a very tail-happy showboating Simon Reed takes the win. Reed wins. The battle for second, though, goes to the flag. Oliver's having a go, but it's Jamie Anderson that takes second. Stuart Oliver third. Ryan Smith is in fourth place, and David Jenkins comes through for fifth place. It's going to be a 51-point haul over the weekend for him. 52 points for Reed, 50 points for Ryan Smith. But there is our race winner, Simon Reed. Reed from Anderson, Oliver and Smith. David Jenkins fifth from Martin Gibson and Richard Collett. Mark Taylor finishes in 8th place once again. Fastest lap, Ryan Smith.
Simon Reed, Rennie, congratulations on winning the final race of the day here at Pembrey. How do you feel?
Yeah, brilliant, to be honest with you. Managed to get through the job and stay in first place. A bit of tussle here and there, and Jamie was just starting to think about, he knows sort of where my weaknesses are over in the back corner. He obviously managed to get past Collett. He almost took me out, to be honest with you, but managed to just get by. But no, job's gone.
It was a big push from the start again, we always seem to have from the back, and we've got to shove our ways forwards, and you have to make big moves on the first and second corners to try and make them stick. Fortunate enough, I took the pressure off. David gone on or pushed on, so he took the pressure off, so it was just push on from there really.
Stuart, what a fraught race that was. You were challenging and defending at the same time.
Yeah, that's how I love it. That was what I come racing for. It was it's obviously nice to win the race, ultimately the end, but to have the sort of the thrill and the adrenaline of sort of be battling. You've got 2 good guys in front, you've got another one being a good guy behind, and within reason you're safe in what you're doing and anything you're doing, but to put the pressure on and have the pressure on as well is fantastic feeling.
We thought at one point Ryan was going to be through. He was trying to get through on that inside line, but you just seemed to have a bit more momentum, and then it was back into attacking Jamie.
That's right, yeah. There was times when I could attack Jamie, then I was having to defend from Ryan and then get away from Ryan, and then I get back onto Jamie, and it was just cat and mouse, but it kept changing. I was the cat, I was the mouse, I was the cat, I was the mouse, and it was fantastic. So really, really good.
Division 1 standings look like this. Ryan Smith with a 49-point lead heading to Brands Hatch from David Jenkins and Jamie Anderson. Simon Reed fourth, the man we just heard from, Stuart Oliver fifth, ahead of Richard Collett. In Division 2, Luke Garrett with a 30-point lead ahead of Brad Smith. The Powell brothers, John, Steve, then John Bowler and Craig Reed in 6th.
Well, end of day 2 here for the penultimate event of the 2018 British Truck Racing Association Championship with Truck and Driver. Whatever the conditions were, we've had great racing over the 2 days. It's all going to be decided with the big fireworks at Brands Hatch in November. I do hope you'll join us there. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.